welcome everybody to Wyatt's Hour. This is the second episode of Wyatt's Hour, where every week we talk about the biggest sports and entertainment news. Today we have a lot to go through, actually. Number one, we're going to be talking about the NBA Finals today. We're going to be talking about what happened over the weekend with the NBA Finals, because it was really epic. Number two, we're going to be talking about the NHL Stanley Cup Final and who won that. We will also be talking about the upcoming movies for this week, movies that you might want to keep your eyes on, stuff that you might want to just keep your eyes on and make sure that you know what's coming out this week. We also have, last night, we had the UFC 250 event for our president's birthday. So it was a UFC event. We also had in the end the show today, we will be talking about the World Cup finals. The World Cup final scores for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Because we had a couple of great games so far. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you are, we are on HC Hawk Radio here at the Ybor City campus. Before I get started, I just wanted to bring a little bit of attention. Yesterday, a lot of people were mourning of Oliver Tree. He was a singer. He unfortunately passed away. So I don't know if any of you listening know who he is, but in case you do, I just wanted to take a moment to say rest in peace, Oliver Tree. Anyway, don't go anywhere. We will be having a music break here, and after the music break, we will be talking about the NBA Finals. Because let me say this, they were really good. It was a really good game. So, don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after this. And welcome back, everybody. We are back here at HC Hawk Radio. And we are at the Ybor City campus. And today the weather is good. The humidity is a little too much. So if you guys are looking to go outside and looking to go swimming today is a great day to do that. Just make sure you're limiting sun exposure just so that everybody's safe out there. But without further ado, let's get into our first topic today. And for the NBA Finals, the last time we spoke, the Knicks were 2-0 in the series, and we spoke about if I thought the Knicks were going to win. Turns out the Knicks are your NBA Finals champions, as this is going to be their first championship win in over 53 years. You heard that right. 53 years it has been since they've last won an NBA Finals championship. And for the second time in a row, they had a comeback. Jalen Brunson and the comeback Knicks did it again. Since they are champions, it was a really good game. The Knicks won 94-90, and the series was 4-1. As the Spurs did win. The Spurs did win one game, which forced another game, but the Knicks just dominated. This was very unexpected, because I didn't think that the Knicks would dominate as much as they did. But it's also the Spurs' fault, because the Spurs had a couple chances where they were in the lead. They could have won the game. But the Knicks came back, and one time in the series, the Knicks were down 23 points, and they ended up winning 105-104 to beat the Knicks. And the game-winning goal, the game-winning basket for that game, I think it was game 4, and that was OJ Anunoby who got the game-winning shot. But talk about this. Jalen Brunson scored 45 points including 13 straight for New York in the fourth quarter. I mean, talk about a game, because Jalen Brunson is now going to be forever remembered in New York as the man who brought them a championship. And let me just say this. If you're going to New York, be prepared to bring security with you, because over the weekend, people of New York were destroying New York. They were setting buses on fire. They're having parties there. And I mean, to be fair, it's their first championship win in 53 years. I mean, you're going to have people celebrating. And I got some words here from Jalen Brunson. He said that he said, "I have no words. It's everything I've ever dreamed of." And it's very fitting for Jalen Brunson, who has potentially, he's really been the backbone of the New York Knicks for a long time. And this year seemed to be the year of where he and the New York Knicks were finally going to win the championship. They were finally going to win the big one, and they did. Now, to be fair, the Spurs also played a good game, but it's mainly the Spurs' fault that they lost, and here's why. As I said before, they had a couple of games where they had a big lead and they had a chance to win, but they did not win, and they ended up losing that wide margin that they had. And I remember in Game 4 where Darren Fox for the Spurs is going to go up for a layup instead of trying to cause a foul and have the clock stop. He goes for a layup. And it's not really smart because you don't know if you're going to make it, and he doesn't make it. So certain players try to take it in their own hands, and I think this offseason the Spurs really have to look, and they really have to see if we want to go for another run at the championship, what has to change. And I think, to me, what has to change is the coaching style. The fact that you allow a team that you're up by 20 plus points margin of, and then you let them get ahead of you and win the game, when there was moments where you had it in the bag, where you had the win, but you lost. And I mean, it was a great finals. Everybody's celebrating. Everybody's like, they were rooting for the underdog. So like everybody was rooting for the Knicks. But for me, I wanted that comeback. I wanted it to go to Game 7. I wanted it to be the last game-winning shot, to be very cinematic. But it turned out that the Knicks dominated in dominant fashion. And what can you say? There really isn't anything you can say besides the Spurs did a really good job. And so for that, congratulations to the Knicks. You are the 2026 NBA Finals champion. Now, hopefully, next year, my Los Angeles Lakers can win a Finals championship. That's all for this portion of Wyatt's hour. When we come back from the music break, we will be talking about the NHL Stanley Cup Finals. And since we haven't been following it, I'll talk to you about essentially who was all in the playoffs, who won, and my take on who won the championship this year, and a little fun fact about our next segment. So don't go anywhere. Enjoy this music, and we'll be back right after this. And welcome back, everybody, to Wyatt's Hour. We are here on AC Hawk Radio. And for this segment, it is the NHL Stanley Cup Finals. Now, for the Stanley Cup, I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a recap on like who was in the Stanley Cup Finals, so that you guys know a little bit before we go into my take on who I thought on my thought process about it. So for the Western Conference, you have the Avalanche versus the Kings, and the Colorado Avalanche won the series 4-0. And you got the Dallas Stars versus the Minnesota Wild, and the Wild won 4-2 in the series. The Las Vegas Golden Knights defeat the Mammoth 4-2 in the series. Oilers defeat the Ducks 4-2. Sabres defeats Bruins 4-2. Lightning, Tampa Bay Lightning, loses to the Canadiens 4-3 in the series. Hurricanes defeats the Senators 4-0, and Penguins lose to the Flyers 4-2. Now, since you guys know who was all in the finals, your winners of the Stanley Cup final were the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, a little fun fact about the Hurricanes. This is their first championship win in 20 years. Now we go from the New York Knicks 53-year drought to the Hurricanes 20-year drought, which they beat the Las Vegas Golden Knights 4-2 in the series. So congratulations to Hurricanes. Now let's talk about the Stanley Cup Finals for a second here. Carolina spent the first part of the Stanley Cup Finals surviving, finding ways to overcome deficits and play a high-scoring game that didn't fit the Hurricanes' typical style. But when it came down to doing what it takes to win the Cup, the Hurricanes' defense put its stamp on this series, shutting down the Vegas Golden Knights and not letting up. The Hurricanes held Vegas to 5 total goals in games 4 and 5. It used a suffocating defense in a 3-0 shutout, and Sunday nights clinching Game 6 to win their first championship in 20 years. Now that says a lot, because you have a team who, for the first part of the series, as you just heard, were fighting. They were fighting to win. They were having trouble. But then all of a sudden they start realizing, okay, this playbook isn't working, so let's change our playbook. Let's go to a different direction. And the direction that they go, right, is what ultimately wins them the Stanley Cup Championship, which it's great to see that in less than 24 hours, 2 droughts that have been long-standing have been eliminated, right? They haven't, now they're your champions. The ultimate underdogs, the ones that you would never have thought of winning a championship, now win. And the offseason's going to be crazy for the NHL and the NBA. So let's get a little bit more into it. And I have some quotes here, according to ESPN's recap. Carolina center Jordan Staal says, "That's a lot of years." Who received the Conn Smythe Trophy as playoff MVP. He also says, "It's amazing. This is something I've been going after ever since we got the first one. You want to win it again and again and again. What a feeling. What a battle. The boys were grinding today. My goodness, so many individual efforts just to keep the puck out of our net. It was an amazing ride. I'm so proud of these guys." Also, Brandon Bussey, who entrance late into Game 3, helped turn around the series for Carolina, recorded his first career playoff shutout in stopping 22 shots. Jackson Blake had a goal and an assist, and Taylor Hall scored just 3 minutes and 47 seconds into the game to set the tone. Now, what a great story by the Carolina team. They've been wanting another championship ever since they won in 2006, and they've been fighting for it ever since. And it's great to see that we have another underdog story. Who they were underdogs. They weren't thought of as being the ones to ultimately win the final. Everybody had the Lightning. I know the Lightnings were heavy favorites. it was a great. And then their final game, right? The Carolina immediately, like, as you heard, they shut out Vegas 3-0 in the whole game. And it's honestly surprising to see. It's surprising to see how much dominance that team had, and it's a great story. It's a great ending to a great season. Also got a couple more quotes here before we end this segment. Your mind wanders the last couple of days and wonder what it may be like on ice after winning. It's better than I could have expected, Hall said. My career has taken a lot of different turns, but to end up here with this group of guys and do this amazing. The Golden Knights, who made an unlikely run just to reach the final, struggled badly to muster any kind of offense in Game 6. It went 8 minutes and 37 seconds between shots on goal in the second and third periods, playing their third cup final. This is the first time they have been shut out. This clinching game was what many observers expected the series to be like between the defensive mind teams, but each side watched leads of 2+ goals disappear in the first 3 games. Now, it was, like you heard, it was 2 great defenses who were known to have a great defense this year, and it ultimately turned out that the Golden Knights really struggled this year. They struggled overall, but they still managed to get into the playoffs. They still managed to win games and to do what they're best known for. But then here comes the Hurricanes, who had a dominant year this year, and they showed the Golden Knights exactly what they're all about, and that's why they are your champions. And it's just a great way to end. It's a great way to end because now your Hurricanes are your 2026 Stanley Cup Finals champions. So when we come back from our music break, we will be talking about the upcoming movies of this week and telling you what to watch, what they're about, and why there's so much hype. Because there's one movie in particular that we're going to talk about that will have his 5th installment in the series. In the series. So don't go anywhere, and we'll be right back after this break. And welcome back, guys, to another segment. This is the movie portion of Wyatt's Hour. Again, you are listening here on HC Hawk Radio, and it's a beautiful day out today. So anyway, let's get right into the upcoming movies or movies that have been released within the past week, and I'll tell you guys what to look forward to and what all the hype is about. So number 1, the movie that actually came out on Friday, June 12th, it's called Disclosure Day. Now, this movie is getting a lot of attraction because this is for your conspiracy theorists. There's a lot of people who believe in aliens and they believe that there's other paranormal beings. And Disclosure Day is the perfect movie for those people who like conspiracy theories or people who are just interested in it in general or just want a good movie to watch, as it's already gotten $95 million in box office sales, which is insane. And a little bit more about what the plot is about. If you found out we weren't alone and if someone showed you, proved it to you, what would that frighten you? This summer, the truth belongs to 7 billion people. We are coming close to Disclosure Day. And I have seen a lot of hype on this movie, and overall, people, I've seen a lot of people like it. I know Steven Spielberg directed the film, and you got some big name actors in there: Emily Blunt, Coleman, Domingo. You got like a lot of people in this movie, and I know it's going to continue to rise, and it's going to continue to get a lot of attraction, and people will have their conspiracy theories on it. But up next, we have Toy Story 5. This is the 5th installment of the Toy Story series. Now, to a lot of people, this is going to be both nostalgic and it's going to bring new eyes onto Toy Story, because Toy Story's been around for years. I mean, the first movie came out in 1995. It's been really, every movie has been great. They've had great stories. And I know a lot of people think that Toy Story didn't need a 5th movie, that it's just a cash grab. But if you aren't familiar with what Toy Story 5 plot is about, it is the toys are back, and this time Buzz Lightyear, Woody, Jessie, and the rest of the gang's jobs are challenged when they come face to face with LilyPad, a brand new tablet device that arrives with her own disruptive ideas about what is best for their kid, Bonnie. Will playtime ever be the same? Now, I know a lot of people are still going to watch. A lot of people are going to watch this. I mean, this has the potential to reach $1 billion in box office sales. It has a big hype that everybody's hyped about. And am I hyped about it? Yes, I am really hyped about this movie because it's nostalgic for me, because I've seen Toy Story 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I thought Toy Story 4 was like a perfect ending. Woody goes off with his love, and he just moves away from the group, and the group stays with Bonnie, and they just have a great ending to it. But Toy Story 5, and I like the idea that they're incorporating technology, because in today's age, technology basically runs the world. Kids are so infatuated with technology. You have game systems, computers, tablets. I mean, there's all kinds of shows that kids can watch now that's easy for them to have access to. And it's not, a lot of people say this also is nostalgic, because this is, they remember when they were a kid, they used to like play outside and technology wasn't a thing. But I like that Toy Story is going in that direction. They're really trying to make sure that people are aware of what's going on, of the joy of playing with your toys and playing with friends, and really being creative is slowly fading. I know there's a lot of creative things you can do with technology, but kids nowadays are using technology to play games, or they're using it to watch. I don't even know what kids watch these days. I'm not with the current times, but I like how Toy Story's going into that direction, and I feel like this will bring a lot more eyes on Toy Story, and also bring a lot of eyes onto what seems like a problem with, I think kids are on technology too much, and they really need to experience what playing outside is like. But we also have another movie. This isn't your typical movie. Also, Toy Story 5 is coming out Friday, June 19th. So if you want to go see Toy Story, it is coming out this Friday, June 19th. at every theater that you can imagine. Now, this third movie that is coming out on the same day is more for your horror fans and your scary movie fans, and it's called The Death of Robin Hood movie. It is played by Hugh Jackman, and it's also coming out Friday, June 19th. The plot is grappling with his past after a life of crime and murder. Robin Hood finds himself gravely injured after a battle he thought would be his last. In the hands of a mysterious woman, he is offered a chance at salvation. Now, this sounds really interesting because the director who's directing the film, Michael Sinofsky, directed A Quiet Place Day One. So, and it's also by the company A24, which A24 is already getting a lot of attraction. Because if you heard last week's episode, we talked about the Backrooms and how popular the Backrooms are and how it's how A24 is getting a lot of recognition. And I think this won't be as popular as the Backrooms, obviously. But you'll get, I think, with Hugh Jackman, who is widely known for his Wolverine character that he plays in the DC universe, the Marvel universe, Marvel and DC universe. He's a great actor, so I feel like he'll make The Death of Robin Hood a great movie to watch. There's also Supergirl, which it isn't this week, it's next week, but it's coming out June 29th. And this is your superhero movie with Jason Momoa. You know, you got a lot of good actors in there. The plot is Kara Zor-El is sent to Earth by her parents to be raised by her cousin Kal-El, known as Superman. Supergirl adopts the secret identity of an orphan, Linda Lee, and makes Midvale Orphanage her home. Now, I've seen a lot of people are actually excited to see this movie. So I think a lot of people are excited to see the movie, and I feel like it'll do great in the box office. It's another superhero movie. We have another superhero movie coming out this summer, but we'll wait a couple more episodes to talk about that. But I think what big Marvel movies coming out this summer. So I think Supergirl will do great. You also have so you have a couple good movies coming out in June. I know we have a couple weeks left of June, and so the big one for June is Toy Story 5, obviously. So that is all for the entertainment section of Wyatt's Hour for right now. We're heading to a music break, and after the break, we're going to be talking about the UFC Freedom 250 event that happened last night. And let's say there's some upsets, there were some great fights, and overall, it was a great time. So we'll see you guys after the break. And welcome back to Wyatt's Hour. So far, we've talked about the NBA Finals, NHL Stanley Cup Final. We talked about the upcoming movies for the month of June. And now it is time for one of my favorite events that I watched this weekend, the UFC 250. It was a really good matchup. It was on the lawn of the White House. So it was the first time that the UFC has ever actually had a event at the White House. And let's just say it didn't disappoint, because your first fight, this is MMA. So for those of you who don't know, UFC is a MMA sport where every month they have a big pay-per-view where all of the top MMA fighters fight. So for the first matchup, you had Diego Lopes knocks out or defeats Steve Garcia. Now, for each match, I'll be going a little bit over the stats and even my thoughts and telling you if I thought they should have won, or if I thought they should, or if I thought they should have won, or if I thought maybe it should have went the other way. So, for Diego Lopes, he didn't dominate the fight. He actually he did less punches, less strikes than Steve, but he was able to take advantage of the less strikes that he'd had. But he was able to hit every punch with land every punch. Well, not every punch that he threw. He was able to land some pretty good strikes. But Stevie Garcia actually had 47 total strikes versus Diego's 24. Now, if you see how Stevie performed, you would think, oh, he should have won, right? But he lost. And just because you land more strikes doesn't mean that you're going to win. It just means that you're waiting for the decision. But Diego didn't want to go to decision. He wanted to knock him out or do a TKO, a technical knockout. So that was the first fight. Second was Bo Nicol defeats Kyle DeCause. There was a middleweight fight. And looking at the stats, Bo showed exactly why he won. For total strikes, he had 44 out of 53. Bo was like really accurate with his strikes to the head. He had one to the legs. He had control. He was really controlling him on the ground game. He had one takedown. So Bo showed why he is one of the best in the middleweight division. He is 9-1. And for Kyle, he was also really accurate with his strikes, but he wasn't able to get as much control as Bo did, as he had 26 out of 31. So that's like really accurate for him, but he couldn't take him down. He couldn't handle the ground game, which is how Bo managed to win that fight. Now, up next, you guys may have heard Michael Chandler. He's known for his for being like a really big mouth, and he's a great trash talker. But his trash talk didn't seem to favor him in this one, as he lost to Marcio roughly in the first round with 4 minutes and 29 seconds into the first round. And let's just say Marcio just completely dominated Michael Chandler. This wasn't even a fight. This was more like just like shark playing with its prey. When you know he's done, he's done. Out of 12 strikes, Michael only landed 3. 3 out of 12. And roughly had 20 out of 41. But he easily was able to try and he really just knocked him out. He took advantage. And I know it's in the first round, but in the first round you would think you would get more strikes than what Michael had. But I know Michael has been calling out Conor McGregor, and if you perform like this, then how are you going to perform when you go up against Conor McGregor? So, and then we had Josh Hokett defeats Derek Lewis. Now, for Derek Lewis, he actually wasn't, a fun fact, he wasn't actually supposed to be on the card, but he got added to the card because the president really liked him, and the president wanted him on the card for his 80th birthday. And let's just say Josh completely dominated again. In the second round, he knocked out Derek Lewis, and Josh is 10-0. He's undefeated in every matchup that he's been in for the UFC. He's slowly climbing the rankings of the heavyweight division, and pretty soon you could be seeing him face up against Tom Espinal, or Cyril Gane for the heavyweight title, because Josh really dominated. And let's go over the stats for that match real quick. Out of 138 strikes, Josh landed 105. And he did a lot of shots to the head. He got really good with the body. He was 5 for 5 with the legs. He had 4 minutes of control, 2 takedowns. Well, Derek Lewis, out of 41 strikes, only could land 8. And he won in the second. Josh won in the second round with 4 minutes and 4 minutes and 9 seconds. So you have a lot of time to land strikes, but Derek could not land any because Josh was too much. Josh is like on another level, and you wonder why. I mean, it's only a matter of time before Josh wins the heavyweight title. But up next, he won of a TKO in round 2 in 4 minutes and 2 seconds. Sean O'Malley defeats Zahabi. That's his last name. His first name I'm going to butcher, so I can say his last name, so I'll just say his last name. But Sean, this was really a close matchup because both fighters landed a lot of strikes, but also attempted a lot of strikes. But Zahabi was more accurate, but they really weren't trying to go for the control. Sean was more focused on the head rather than he wanted a straight knockout. And that's what he got. He wanted what he was getting. He wasn't really trying to do the technical offense. But with Zahabi, he was more going after the legs. But if you go after the legs, then you know that he can't stand up. And if he can't stand up, he can't have as much strength in his hands. But it didn't prove to be any useful because Sean beat him in the second round. Now we had our co-main event. It was Alex Pereira versus Cyril Gane. And Cyril Gane wins and is the new UFC interim heavyweight champion. Defeats Alex Pereira via KO and TKO round 2 with 1 minute and 27 seconds. Now, Alex Pereira had 12 strikes compared to Gane's 54. And now Alex Pereira landed less strikes. He was actually this is actually a really even matchup because now Gane's 14-2 and Pereira's 13-4, and you see why this was the co-main event. And so this is actually a really good fight. And your main event is Ilya Chapura lost to Justin. I can't say his last name, but Justin, and he wins he is the light heavyweight champion. This was the best fight of the night. This was really entertaining. Both fighters had over 100 strikes. It was insane. Both fighters were really good. They were really trying to go at each other. They both were badly bruised and everything. It was a really good fight. But that being said, that's your recap of UFC 250, Freedom 250. In my opinion, the best match was the main event. So I think if you watched it on Paramount Plus, I think it was worth it. Every match was good. There's a couple dominance matches here and there, but they were all really good, and they all had a knockout or a TKO. So it was really fun to see. Now, our last segment of the day is the World Cup final. And I know we have a little bit of time with you guys left, so we'll be going over the scores of the World Cup, telling you who's winning so far and what the group stage is. So we're going to go for a short music break, not too long. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after this. And we are back with our final segment of the day, which is the FIFA World Cup. Now, I told you guys last week that our main focus would be the FIFA World Cup. And let's just say the first batch of matchups did not disappoint. The first matchup, Mexico defeated South Africa 2-0. And South Korea defeats Czechoslovakia 2-1 on Thursday. On Friday, Canada was actually facing Bosnia, and they tied 1-1. The U.S., the team that I'm rooting for, defeated Paraguay 4-1. It was complete dominance. Proud to be supported the U.S. so far. On Saturday, you had three matchups. Qatar versus Switzerland. They both tied 1-1. Brazil faced Morocco. They both tied 1-1. And Scotland defeated Haiti 1-0. Now, these matchups were really good. I don't have too much time to do a deep breakdown of each, because I know we got a lot of games to go over. But these matchups were really good. If you have Peacock, I'm sure they're on Peacock, so you can always rewatch the recaps. So that was for Saturday. For Sunday, we got Australia defeats Turkey 2-0. Germany defeats Morocco 7-1. Germany dominated, had the most points so far. Netherlands and Japan tied 2-2. That was a really interesting game, really good. Ivory Coast defeated Ecuador 1-0, and Sweden defeated Tanzania 5-1. And now, today, as we are talking right now, Spain and Cape Verde are facing. They're in halftime. It's 0-0. And this weekend's World Cup games did not disappoint. You had a couple dominant wins, but most of them were tied or they were by one. And it really shows you how excited people are, because I see all over social media, people are vlogging, my first time in America. People are really excited. Like foreigners are really excited for the World Cup. They're excited to be here. So what we're in right now, I forgot to mention it last week. We are in right now what is called a group stage. We're in a group stage where teams in their group, they're in different groups, and whoever, after a couple games, whoever has the most wins moves on to the round of 32. And they keep going until you go to the World Cup finals. And there's going to be some really interesting games. There's really going to see who can be the underdog, who's going to dominate, and some upcoming games to keep you guys, so that you guys know. Today at 3 p.m., we'll be having Belgium versus Egypt. At 6 p.m., you'll have Saudi Arabia versus Uruguay. Then at 9 p.m., you'll have Iran versus New Zealand. And for Tuesday, you got France versus Senegal, Iraq versus Norway, Argentina versus Algeria. And for Wednesday, you have a lot of games. You got Austria versus Jordan, Portugal versus Congo DR, England versus Croatia, Ghana versus Panama, Uzbekistan versus Colombia. And then Thursday will be the second batch of games from all the teams. And Canada's facing Qatar, Mexico's facing South Korea, and the U.S. is actually facing Australia, which should be a really good game. So that game I will be keeping my eyes on. That will be June 19th on Friday. Friday, June 19th is going to be a big day for people. You have Toy Story 5. Now you got the United States playing Australia. So that is all the time we have for the World Cup. Next week we'll be going a little bit more in depth with the games because there'll be a lot of games to go over for next episode. Thank you guys so much for listening today. It's been a pleasure talking to you guys for this hour, for Wyatt's Hour. We talked about the NBA Finals. We talked about NHL Stanley Cup Finals, top movies coming up. We talked about UFC, and now the FIFA World Cup. And now next week, a little bit information about what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about the FIFA World Cup. We'll also be talking about baseball. We'll be talking about the college baseball World Series. We're going to be seeing how that is going. We're going to be talking about the current baseball standings, what you should know, how's Tampa doing, and we'll be talking about also some looking at the box office and seeing for this year and seeing what is surprising and what is not surprising and seeing how the movies have been playing up. So, like I said, thank you guys so much for listening today. It is Wyatt's Hour here on HC Hawk Radio. Enjoy your week. Enjoy the weather. It's going to be great weather today. And enjoy your week. As I see, it should be sunny all week with little to no chance of rain. So it's going to be some highs in 94, 95. So please enjoy your week, and we'll be back right here next week for episode 3 of Wyatt's Hour. See you guys later.